I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends Podcast. With me today is Matt Hayter, and he has had a practice on the outskirts of Brisbane for the past 20 years, which he has recently sold. He has sort of gone into, I'm going to say it's semi-retirement, Matt.
Yeah, all of that.
At the same time, he was doing some sessional academic work at QUT, but he had a few health issues, which is why he's taken a bit of a step back. And he was also one of the owners of Quantum Orthotic Lab. So, Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm really well. Yourself, Tyson?
I'm fantastic. It's good to catch up. I think last time I actually caught up with you was at a marketing workshop we did on the Gold Coast pre-COVID.
That's right. I was trying to think when the last time was, and I saw you in Adelaide. That's 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's right. It was on the Gold Coast. It was marketing and the pressure.
Biomechanics. Yeah, biomechanics and marketing. It was, yeah.
That's right. Was that about 2 or 3 years ago? Maybe a bit
No,
more.
it was either 2018 or 2019. It was pre-COVID.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
it was a while ago. That was a fun day, though.
It was good. Really good. Enjoyed it.
So I want to just go back a little step before we get into the recent or what's gone on in your life. I want to go back a step. What got you into podiatry in the first place? I'm always interested.
Well, I was late coming to podiatry, so I didn't start studying until I was 30 and graduated when I was 33. But
what were you doing beforehand?
at 19, I started a business recycling toner cartridges, believe it or not. So,
Okay.
yeah, and that was really good and it was lucrative, doing really well, but I got really bored. It just wasn't pushing my buttons. So I'd always been interested in science and the body, and I wanted to work in a clinical setting. So I looked at a couple of things. I looked at optometry, and it mainly seemed to be about angles and that sort of thing. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to be insulting an optometrist, but podiatry seemed to have a lot of facets to it, and that's where I applied to get into podiatry, and had a great time studying there, and it's been fantastic. I'm so grateful for all the things it's given me. It's amazing.
So I take it you studied at QUT?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So when did you graduate from there?
2003.
Okay. Alan Crawford would have still been there then, wouldn't
He
he?
was still there. Yeah, I catch up with him every now and then. We play golf, not often enough, but I also give him a phone call every now and then.
Yeah, say hello for me. What do he have to be about? 100? Would be a bit of 100 now, wouldn't he? Or
I've never known his age. I don't know what age he was when he retired, but he and I actually did the whole of fourth year for several years. We did all the clinical sessions and the exams and all that. So sorry to those people who went through then.
I liked his nickname was Crackers when we were going through
really?
Yeah, Crackers Crawford we called him. And what was really funny about Alan was him and I, we just banged heads. Just
really?
We banged heads. And for the first 3 years, we just banged heads. And because he enjoyed my company so much, he said, Tyson, we'd like to stay back an extra year. And so I did. But on that fourth year, and I remember the conversation going along the lines of him just saying that, I was lazy. And I went, I probably was. But in that fourth year, he kept challenging me to do certain things. And he said, since you've already done first year clinic, do you want to come on and help? I'm like, yeah, okay. Oh, do you want to help with the second year? Yeah, okay. Well, you've already done the part of the third year clinic. You come in there. And
really?
So I found I was on the clinic so much in that fourth year. I probably learned more in that extra year I had to go back and do than I did in all the other years put together.
Wow. And I noticed you credited him in your book with the idea of moving somewhere else to start a clinic. Yeah.
So it was one of those things at the end of the fourth year, and I don't know if he'll remember it, but I actually thanked him for keeping me back that year and giving me the kick in the ass that I actually needed, because he pretty much just said to me, you find everything really easy.
Right.
And I went, I don't know if I find it easy. Maybe you're just an excellent lecturer.
Yes. Yep. we did keep a few back, and I only had one ever say thank you for that.
Yeah, I thanked him.
We had a few drinks at the ball the time that she came up and said thank you, but anyway.
Yeah, no, it was one of those things that really, I look back and I think it was just one of the best things that ever happened, because it was probably the first kick in the ass I had.
Yes.
Where I actually felt like, my God, I'm a failure. Everyone in my year has moved on, and here I'm back here with the year behind. And I was slightly embarrassed.
Yeah, wow.
But then I realized what I learned in that last year. I went, this has made me a better podiatrist than all the people that went through and finished the year before.
Yeah.
And and he was the one that said to me, if I was going to set up a practice somewhere, stop going where everybody else is hanging out in Southeast Queensland because of family or boyfriends and girlfriends. And he said, I said, well, where would you go? He goes, I'd go to Cairns.
Yeah, really? Oh, you actually said Cairns?
He actually said Cairns. So I didn't. I went to the Gold Coast first for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then eventually thought about that conversation I had with him and went, I'm going to go to Cairns.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So I thank him for a lot.
Absolutely. It's been your life.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. I think sometimes I've often said sometimes some lecturers should shut up. They shouldn't give their personal opinions about certain things.
Yep.
But in this case, I think if a lecturer or a tutor has a really positive outlook on something, then they should shout it from the rooftop. And Alan Crawford did.
Yeah. Look, I had a couple of students where I sat them down. They would just seem to be totally stuffing around.
Yeah.
And then they disappeared, as some people do. And you don't. But these guys, two of them I remember distinctly, and they, different years, of course, but they each came back. We suddenly saw them. They popped up again on third or fourth year, and they both worked their asses off. And they both did some of the best work on clinic and became, really top students. And I sat down with each of them. I made a point of it. I said, can I have a chat just for a few minutes? I said, what was it that turned you around? Because when I first saw you, I thought you're not going to get through, and then you disappeared.
Yeah.
You came back. I was amazed at your work ethic. And they said, both of them virtually said exactly the same thing from memory. The crux of it was we had to work out what we wanted in life. You know what I mean? I had to go away, do something else, realize that's not what I want. Podiatry looks pretty good in comparison. I'm going to work hard and actually get through it. And so that was some of the most rewarding times in doing my sessional work. And I did a lot of it, but I realized I became a much better teacher later, like the second half. I was nearly there for 20 years than I was the first. The first, you can almost fall into that us and them mentality, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And you're at loggerheads with some of the students. And then once you realize that, except for exams where you have to keep a certain benchmark, once you realize that your sole purpose is to help them get through and become the best they can be, I think you become much better at doing your job in that role.
I think back. So Alan Crawford asked me to leave podiatry the first day I started.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. First day. And because I think we were having because you have the orientation week. So orientation week at uni, there's a little bit of drinking.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden we had to go to this lecture hall and I fell asleep.
Oh, wow.
And I woke up and there was only me in the room and Alan Crawford.
That's great.
I remember going, oh, so I sneak out and then he came up and he said, I really don't think you should be here. Have you thought about leaving? And I went, I just got here. He goes, oh. And that's how it was for the next 3 years. It was just, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I'm curious about, when you said, the students disappeared for a while, do you mean they left podiatry and then reapplied?
Yeah, we just didn't see them next year. And I think it was about 2 years or so. It was funny. One of them came into my clinic as a carer for a patient. I said, g'day, how you going? And we had a chat and he said, look, I'm thinking of coming back and I'm really serious this time. I'm going to make sure. And I went to uni and actually had a word to a couple of them. I said, he seems a bit of a changed young fella. He's keen on getting back in. Anyway, he came back in and I know a couple of people were on his back a little bit at the start, but you could quickly see that they didn't need to be because he was really, really focused.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he made a very good podiatrist.
I think it's one of those things too that I think more so guys than girls, we mature a little bit later in life.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I must admit, when I was a student going through, I had fun. I played rugby league. I drank too much.
Yeah.
I went to lectures when I had to.
Yeah.
I had good friends that took good notes. And it's back in the day when we didn't have the luxury they have these days where there's recordings and then go back and watch it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was quite slack in those first few years. But then when I got the kick in the pants that I deserved and needed,
Yes.
all of a sudden that changed my whole outlook. But it also got me fired up. Just some other things that happened at uni as well. They just got me fired up. That went, you know what, I'm going to make a success at this.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes to the character of yourself as well. You people can do one thing with that, what's happened,
Yeah.
making you repeat and giving you a kick in the bum, and other people will go the other way. And you went the right way, obviously.
Yeah. I remember we
Yeah.
got called in. He called two of us in at the same time.
Yeah.
We'd done
I've
this
done some of
exam
those
work.
interviews. I did quite a few of those interviews
And when I turned up
in
as
the
officer
fun.
and I looked at the other person that was there and I went, oh, we failed. And they went, and she goes, well, what do you mean? Maybe we haven't. I go, no, I'm with you. We're both going in together. I know he's going to tell us we failed.
Right. Yeah.
And we went in there. He told us we failed. And I always remember her response was, oh, okay, well, that means I don't have to go to clinic this afternoon. I can go and watch Days of Our Lives.
Wow.
And she walked out and I looked at him going, you've lumped me with her.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. That is so
Yeah.
unfair. There was a bit more conversation I said to him at that time too.
Yep.
I
Yep.
didn't take it lightly. Like I
Yeah.
said, best thing was that he did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously.
And so
You've
anyway,
made a
so
mark.
what was that?
You've made a mark.
Yeah.
I mean, you're well known. You've made a mark in the world of podiatry hugely. Yeah.
I think it was one of those things that he, like I said, sometimes you just need to have those failures in your life.
Definitely.
I think it just hardens you up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had two kids when I went back to decided to go back to uni and do podiatry. Two kids and the business I was running, and my wife was working as well. So there was no time for too much mucking around, I suppose. You had to be serious or get out. And there were a couple of other people, maybe just one other guy with the same situation in my year. But yeah,
I used to take my hat off to mature age students. I remember we went through, there were a couple of people who were like in their 30s.
Yep.
And I said, my God, you're almost retired. What are you doing here? When you're 18, 30, it sounds
That's
old.
right. Yeah.
But, and at the time, I really didn't think about it, but I look back now and I go, well, you guys had families, you had mortgages.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a mortgage. Yeah.
You had responsibilities.
And it got close to, I remember while I was studying, because it wasn't earning as much, it was getting a bit hairy there for a while.
So I thought now would be a perfect time to just dive in and remind everybody that if you're looking or considering a podiatry business coach, before you reach out to some of the larger coaching companies, please go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, and read through the coaching section. You'll see I've got a model there called the Thriving Podiatry Business Model. And after you read through everything, there's also a link to my online calendar. From there, we can organize a 30-minute Zoom call. We'll have a bit of a talk. I'll explain the Thriving Podiatry Business Model in a bit more detail. And you may find just after that call, that is all you need just to give yourself a little bit of guidance. But if you want to take it further, I can give you more information. So please go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Okay, let's get back to the interview. Did you ever think about leaving? Like when you were going through that? Okay,
I was very focused on achieving it. So I never did think about that.
Okay.
Maybe briefly in first year.
Yeah.
When I felt that first semester, I felt really snowed under. I thought, wow, this is a lot of work. But I just adapted to it.
So when you graduated,
yeah,
did you work for yourself straight away or did you go work for somebody else?
I worked for Claire Nichols, you know Claire?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Dola. So she was a great boss. I can't say enough about Claire. So I worked in two of her practices and she was very supportive and I learnt heaps. And after 18 months, I went and started my own.
Okay. But that was always the plan, have your own business?
Well, not at first, but then I suppose it probably always was in the back of my mind. I realised I haven't had many employers in my life because I started a business at 19. I worked in the bank for 6 months before that and decided that wasn't for me. And yeah, I just very used to running my own show, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's either, like you said, at 19, you had your own business, you're recycling toners.
Yeah.
So probably working for yourself that way. And I was very similar. Yeah. I've never had a podiatry boss because when I went through uni, I was working on a farm, filling shelves at Woolworths, just all these odd jobs, working at Red Rooster, getting the sack from Red Rooster for being a smart ass.
Right.
Which may surprise people. And
was it Big Rooster back then?
It was. It was Big Rooster back then.
Yeah.
And It was one of those things. But I actually had some really, really good bosses. When I worked at the Chook Farm, the guy that ran that place was just had so much respect for the guy. Just the way he ran it, the way that he would never ask anyone to do something that he had not done himself probably 1,000 times before you. So he had just gained everybody's respect.
Right.
But I just knew I wanted to control my own destiny.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to have to ask permission to have Melbourne Cup day off.
Well, that's exactly right. There are a lot of things where, you need to ask permission when you work with someone, that you can work it out your own way if you're doing your own show.
Yeah, but I think in hindsight, I think it's great for like new recent graduates to work for somebody else for a couple of years, just to, I don't know, taking what you learn at uni, go to some conferences, work for somebody else for a little while. Yeah, make a few mistakes, but then also work hard and then enjoy your holidays for that couple of weeks.
Yes.
Because when you have your own business, it'll be a little while before you get them.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. So the practice that you recently sold after 20 years, is that the practice that you actually opened like 18 months after graduating?
Yeah, that's right. Dynamic Podiatry at Ferny Hills. So what
was the name of it?
Dynamic Podiatry.
Oh, Dynamic Podiatry. Okay.
Yeah, that was 19 years, just over 19 years that we ran that. My wife and I ran it. My wife's an accountant and she was working at UQ at the time.
Yeah.
And I said, I think I'm going to need some help here. And she was actually a bit sick of the job she had as well. So the value that she had for the business was incredible. We wouldn't be able to do it anywhere near as well without her there. So yeah, it was fantastic. It was really enjoyable. I had great relationships with clients and with staff, and it was sad. When I informed the staff that we were leaving, I did actually have a couple of tears.
Yeah.
It's such a big part of your life to build a practice from nothing and then have it still going after all that time is such a big thing. So I think in the second year we started employing another podiatrist. But yeah, we had a few come and go. But our retention was actually quite good. But we did have a few go at once, and that was a big thing. So we got over that and kept going, and got to that point where.
So did you sell it to somebody that was already working with you, just to another podiatrist, or to a corporate?
No, the funny thing is there are a few people who knew I wasn't great, wasn't really well, and they'd approached me before we decided to do it.
Okay.
It was one of those people that approached me that we sold it to. I spoke to the other one first, and for a couple of months talked about things and didn't end up getting to the end. But then I spoke to this other fella who approached me, and that's worked out well.
Okay, that's good. And you sold it because we were talking about this off air. You sold it because of health reasons.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it became very difficult for me to practice at the moment. I've developed a chronic lung disease. It's the closest thing that they don't really know. I'm still going to an immunologist at the moment, and we've done a lot of genetic testing, but the closest, it seems to behave very much like cystic fibrosis.
Yeah.
Not the one that you see the kids that get really sick with all the time, but there are actually a couple of thousand different types of cystic fibrosis you can get, and some don't develop until your 50s, which I'm 55, and it started around that when I turned 50. And they're not as severe. You don't tend to die as young with those, but they still destroy your lungs after a certain amount of time. But I've been through a lot of treatment, which knocks you around as well. And just all that sort of thing. At the moment, I'm doing 2 hours a day of treatment. So that eats into your day a fair bit. And I was also getting sick from patients. They bring along their different things. So we made the decision pretty much to pull right back. I pulled back, and then I worked again, and then I sort of pulled back again. But
so you would have been diagnosed then pre-COVID. So over those COVID years, was that a big concern?
That's when I really pulled back then. I mean, I stopped altogether, and I stopped teaching at QT for a while then, and I came back in 2022. But I pulled back altogether because I said if you get COVID without a vaccine at the moment, it's really, what did he say? Dire straits was what my specialist said. So we just tried to cocoon me, I suppose, wrap me up in cotton wool.
Yeah. So how has it affected? Well, because when we were talking about this before, I said that I think there's a lot of podiatrists that go through their careers and they've got chronic health issues.
Absolutely.
and they learn to adapt what they're doing.
Yes. Yeah.
And modify the jobs and modify the type of work they do. Because I would say with you with a lung problem, anything that created a lot of dust,
Yes.
whether it was
That's
lab
right.
work or nail dust, you would have really taken that into consideration.
Absolutely. You know what, one of the worst parts of it, one of the hardest things and to keep working was I became very unreliable. And I feel like I've always been a pretty reliable person.
Yeah.
And I hated it when you'd have to, because I get these infections and I get a fever and get quite crook with it. Because that's what happens with the damaged lungs. They're just haven for every single bug. I got black mold, I got Pseudomonas, I've had non-tuberculosis mycobacteria, that took
Yeah, not
18
good.
months to get rid of. I think it's 13 or 14 different pathogens that I've had diagnosed in there. So I'd get crook, they'd ring all the patients, say he's crook today, have to rebook you. Next week I'd get crook again. That was happening a lot. So I became very unreliable. And that was one of the hardest parts, being that person that didn't know if they were going to be able to turn up for the next patient.
Yeah. And like I said, I mentioned to you before that I was off of work for 2 years because of a hand problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I just had psoriasis that bad and it affected my
I
joints.
didn't know that at all. Yeah.
And I was fine until I was 26, 6 foot
Right.
tall and bulletproof, that nothing was going to stop me.
No, I remember that.
And then all of a sudden, this little rash that started just on one finger. It was just one little rash on one finger, and had it for about a month and just kept scratching it. And then it started on another finger.
Yep.
And then I remember seeing a GP and he jabbed a cortisone injection in it, which wasn't fun.
Yeah. No,
And he said, went back a week later, how'd it go? I said, well, you moved it from this hand, but now it's on the other hand. And he said, I can give you another cortisone injection. I said, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then it just my
keep
whole
chasing
hands
it.
from the
cortisone.
Yeah, from the tips of my fingers right through to my wrist was just a deep split
Wow.
all the way down. And then it was all over the bottom of my feet.
Oh, gee.
And so I could hardly walk. I couldn't move. So, 2 years I just sat there watching videos back in the day, VHS.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. All of a sudden, I just got to see whether I just need to start working. I'm going to go nuts.
Yeah.
Modified things, but I can relate to it. I didn't know from 1 week to the next whether I was going to have a good week, a good month, a bad week. And I had to modify a lot of things I did.
Yeah, absolutely. I went and did a day a few months ago for a mate out of Ipswich.
Yeah.
And for 2 or 3 days, I was just gone. I was just, it's just that stamina as well that I don't have from just not being well. Yeah.
So, okay. So that forced you into semi-retirement, selling the podiatry business. You still own Quantum Orthotic Lab.
That's right. Yeah. So
thought we better give that a plug.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's so Quantum's a lab over at Acacia Ridge, and we first just started it for our own clinics. One friend has a big clinic out at Ipswich, and another one has one at Stafford, and we wanted to get a good, reliable product for our own clinics. So we started our own CAD/CAM style lab where we do both poly and EVA devices, and we're never going to challenge the massive labs or anything like that. And that's never what it was about. It was about building. Once we started, we're really happy with the product and the service, and we went out to other people and said, try the lab. And we've got several really loyal customers that we build close relationships with. And that's basically the basis of the lab, is having close relationships with prescribers and providing a good product and service. Before COVID, we were doing quite a bit in the state, and that I remember when Victoria just locked down, lost all of that. I can't imagine how they just weren't allowed to practice.
Oh, they went nuts down there.
Yeah, it was full on. So no, we get them out fast, good quality product, out quickly.
So moving ahead, you've sold the practice, semi-retirement, still own part of the lab, enjoying life a little bit. And you've decided to
go to the beach every morning. Just nice.
I know, because you're on the Sunshine Coast now, aren't you?
I am, 400 meters from Kings Beach. So
I love Kings Beach. We've been there a couple of times, and it's a beautiful beach because it's only quite a small area.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, it's good. The surf has been huge the last about 10 days. It's probably been big up there, I imagine.
We don't get surf in Cairns, but we have crocodiles.
That's
Crocodiles don't
right.
like
You do.
surf. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
I saw a
I'm
photo
that.
that you posted recently. Or it
Yeah.
might have been because I went onto Facebook to just check out a couple of things, and I
Yeah.
think one of your main profile pictures is this. This is the beach there at
Yes.
Kings Beach,
That's right.
and I just went, oh, said I remember we stayed there, just going down there each morning and just walking
Yep.
in the surf,
Yeah.
like up to your knees.
Right.
It's a fantastic way to start the day.
It is. Yeah. And I've got a crew down there now. We all sort of like-minded people who like getting out to surf in the morning, and we often have the coffee after a surf. So I can't complain about lifestyle at the moment.
No, that is good. But you've set up a YouTube channel.
I have, yes, just a fledgling one. We've only got a few subscribers at the moment.
I subscribed.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Oh,
Thank
so
you.
what's the name? What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Get patients online.
Right.
So
So
basically,
don't look up Matt Hayter because he is a
oh,
professional wrestler.
oh yes, yes, he is. I know. It's amazing, that guy. He's crazy, isn't he?
Because when I first heard you had the YouTube channel, I said, "Oh, I'm going to find
Yeah,
it." And I just assumed it's probably going to be under your name, like mine is.
yeah.
And I
You
looked it up
saw
there,
that guy.
and all of a sudden there's this crazy wrestler beating the crap out
I
of
know.
people, and I
He's
went,
awesome.
"It's a different Matt Hayter."
He's an Australian professional wrestler, which I don't think is a big scene, but he's certainly got quite a profile.
Yeah. So what's the name of your channel again? Just so everyone
Get patients online.
get
So
patients online.
yeah, so it's basically where I'm going on, and I did a lot of work. I had a mate who sadly passed away a few years ago, but he taught me and got me into the whole world of SEO,
Yeah.
and basically that's what I'm teaching people on YouTube. I'm going to do some more detailed videos, some sort of whiteboard stuff, and yeah, really give people some hints on how to get their website much higher up because most websites get virtually zero traffic. People don't
Ah,
realize it, but most of
yeah.
them get virtually nothing. And most practice websites get very little. We took ours from being 2% of our bookings to being 30 something percent, which if you think about adding 30% on, it's huge. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's obviously free. It's on YouTube. And I'll keep developing that. And as long as people enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm trying a few different styles at the moment of video and seeing what people connect with the
I
most.
know it takes a while. Like I've got on my YouTube channel, in case anyone wants to check it out, Tyson E. Franklin. There's only one of me. There's no
Yep.
other Tyson E. Franklins. There's no
Oh,
professional wrestling ones. And like I've got almost 700 videos on there
right. Wow.
that I've done over. So I tell you, if anyone wants a really good laugh, if you have no
Yeah.
confidence in front of a camera, go
Yeah.
back and some of my
Your early
earliest
one.
videos and you have a look at them back when I actually had hair.
Yep.
And I look at them now and I go, they're terrible. Well, not they're terrible. Like I look at them and I go, the content's fine.
Yep. Yep.
The lighting was bad. Not that the lighting
Yes.
now is any better because it's a bit bright,
Yep.
bouncing off my head. But yeah, there's so many things about it that are different to how I do it now with lighting and where the microphone is and the sound and everything else.
Yes.
But if I hadn't started,
That's right.
if I had waited until everything is perfect, and I look at other people's
That's what the
videos
old
now.
saying, isn't it? You don't have to be great to start, but you have
Yeah.
to start to be great. That
Yep.
one resonates with me a lot. Like, I don't know who originally said it, but yeah.
Yeah. And what is it? 80% out the door is better than 100% in the drawer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I look at some people's videos and they're so nice. The
Yeah.
background's beautiful and the
Yeah.
lighting and there's not one
Yeah.
shine off their head. And you just go, wow, I'd love to get to that level. But unless I started somewhere,
Yeah.
I'm slowly, like I've got different lights that I've got, like this one here. I turn that off and you see just a little bit of light on the side.
Yep.
And I've got a bigger one here, but I've had probably 5 or 6 different types of lighting.
Yeah, right.
And my head shines on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Are you confident on video? Do you feel confident doing
No,
them?
no, not
I
at all.
still don't. I don't at all either. Well, watch mine at about 1.5 speed because I talk too slowly.
I did like on there's about 698 videos at the moment.
Yep.
Prior to that, I did a walking challenge called the 365-hour mental and physical challenge.
Yeah.
I had to walk an hour a day, every day for an hour, listen to a podcast, and then shoot a video at the end of it, share my takeaway points. That's on a different YouTube channel. And so I did 365 videos there.
Wow.
almost 700 on my current YouTube channel. I did another 200 on this other channel I was doing. And still to this day, when I see the little red dot go on the record,
Yeah.
I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
thank God for editing, that I have a good editing program that I can tidy things up.
Yeah. Don't you
I,
hate the editing part though? I hate listening to myself on the editing. Do you know what I mean? When you're doing the
yeah, I'm better now than when I first started. Because when people come on the podcast, one of the things sometimes they say is, oh, I hate the sound of my own voice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I totally get that. I'm so used to doing it now because of the podcast and because of the
Yeah,
videos.
you would
I
be.
don't I don't even hear it. I don't even hear my voice,
Yep.
but I still don't like looking at myself on camera.
Yeah.
I did one with Jonathan Small a couple of weeks ago when I was in the UK,
Oh yeah.
and I didn't know if the video was going to tell. We shot it actually live in his clinic, but
Yeah.
the hoodie that I was wearing was that tight around my neck. It had looked like a turkey chin hanging out. And part of it, I'm going, oh my God, that looks terrible. But
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I
thinking,
was
you know what?
thinking double chin, all
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
yeah. And I'm thinking, you know what? Nobody else is probably even noticing that.
No, that's right. That's right.
So I think if
I'm just
anyone's
trying to find
thinking
stuff at the
about,
moment that people really resonate with and that's
yeah,
useful to people that are in practice because I know that they can't spend heaps of time on the computing part, but I'm trying to find what's easiest stuff to give them that to work on. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, it is. Like I think that the topic of what you've chosen, the whole SEO side of things, I think is really important because even if the podiatrist himself says, "Oh, I don't have time to watch these videos," and they're not very long,
Yep.
so they do have time.
Yeah.
But even if they decide, "Oh, I don't have time," do you have a senior receptionist, a practice manager, another podiatrist in your clinic who loves that sort of stuff?
Yes.
Get them to watch your videos, give them access to your website, and
Yeah.
let them slowly make the changes instead of them
That's what
sitting
it has to
around
be.
and having a
Slow,
coffee.
incremental, slow, incremental. It's about consistency that helps
Yeah.
get you there. Yeah.
Like I
Uh,
used to work on my website when I had the podiatry clinic one. I was always on there. I just loved writing articles and changing things and fixing
yeah.
headlines and seeing what words were popular and making sure that I was
Yes.
using them. So our website got a huge amount of traffic,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
didn't happen by itself.
No, definitely not. It doesn't. They just sit there doing nothing if you don't do stuff with it.
So how many videos you got up at the moment?
Oh, I've only got about 5 or 6 up at the moment, so it is really early days.
Yeah, I
Um,
think there was 4 when I
yeah,
looked at it.
yeah, I think there's 6 now, but I've put a few more up this week, and I'm going to be putting parts of. I did a whole course a few years ago, but
Yeah.
I think it was too long for some people. But it went well. Like I sold the course, and it went okay. But I think bite-sized pieces of gold, I suppose, are better. And so I'm trying to give people shorter amounts in a quicker amount of time. But there are parts on the course that I think are really crucial that I'm going to also release onto the YouTube stuff as
Yeah. Is
well.
the course still active?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah,
Give it a
yeah,
plug.
yeah. Oh, it's what was it called? Oh, it was more podiatry patients back then. Yeah, more podiatry patients. But I
Sorry, you
know
made
it's
me laugh
terrible.
then. What was
I
it
know it's
called?
terrible.
Okay, say it again. This time I won't laugh while you're saying it.
More podiatry patients is the name of the course. Yeah.
Okay. And is that on a
Yeah,
website.com.au
it's
or
on morepodiatrypatients.com. No,
okay.
.com.au actually. We couldn't get the .com for that one, but .com.au. Whereas, yeah, the new one's just on YouTube at the moment, YouTube and Instagram, and
Yeah.
I'll add a website to it as well.
So the plan is now, and this is what I think you're at that stage in your career where a lot of us end up, is you've had your podiatry career, you've done okay from it. You must have
Yeah.
done
Oh,
okay
yeah.
because you have a place not far from
I
Kings
can't complain
Beach.
at all.
No.
Can't complain at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've done pretty well for it. But now I think it's great when I know people who have finished their career, they're not going back into a clinic full time anytime soon,
Yep.
that are now like giving back. And even if you do make a little bit of money on the side from your courses and things like that, I think that's fine. But I think it's good to be giving back.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy that part, and that's definitely what I'm doing at the moment. I mean, if someone later down the line wants to work for me or get me to do some stuff, help them with it, I can do that. I'm not really sort of set up for that at the moment, I suppose. But yeah, at the moment, all I'm doing is putting out free stuff that I know, stuff that I think will help.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. So if people wanted to reach out to you, if they wanted to ask you questions about YouTube or
Yep. Probably the easiest
just some
one is
advice, yeah.
Matt Hayter, Matt at matthayter.com.au.
Okay, that's the email.
Yeah, so it's Matt and then just at matthayter.com.au.
So is there a Matt Hayter website?
No, I've got the domain name.
Yeah.
You know what it was? It's a silly thing. Yeah, that guy in the States that he was called, he bought that medication and then was charging people thousands and thousands of dollars for it that needed this life-saving medication.
No, who was that?
There was a whole YouTube thing about him. And what he was doing, anyone he didn't like, he would buy their domain name, their name. So like
Love that.
Lynette Smith, he would buy
Yeah.
LynetteSmith.com and then put all this nasty stuff up online. And I just had the idea, I thought, I'm just going to go and buy my name.
I've told a lot of people that if you get the opportunity, get the domain for your name. That's why I've got tysonfranklin.com and .com.au.
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought,
I've got both of them as well.
yeah, just because that is real estate that once that's gone,
yes, it's gone.
Nobody else can have it. So
thousands for it if someone else had it.
Yeah. So I think if you don't already have your own name for your domain or the domain for your own name, go and look it up. And if it's available,
it's like $15 a year or something to just keep
buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got quite a lot of domain names because I have things that come up. I think, oh, I'll buy that.
Yeah, I do the same.
Yeah. But
just some funny ones. I've got some funny ones that things just popped into my head and I went, I'm going to register that. And I might register it for 5 years and go, you know what? I'm not going to do anything with it. And I'll let it go. And then, I've probably got too many.
Yeah. I've got a few. I let a few lapse because I thought they're not worth much, but but I might, now you've said it, I might go and set up matthayter.com.au page because it might actually be easier for people to find me there, and then I can redirect them to YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's how mine started. My tysonfranklin.com was purely just, I owned the domain. I set a page up that was just really basic, and then from there, it just added and grew stuff, and then that just became a coaching page. So I just leave it there. A
lot of people in Queensland, I suppose, over the last 20, if they studied over the last 20 years, know my name. So it might be worth doing that.
If they're trying to track you down, it's going to be the easiest way of finding you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, okay, before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to share before we finish?
No, yes, one thing I didn't mention, I got kicked out of UQ. I failed when I was 18. So we're talking about failures and coming back from it. My parents had recently broken up and I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And I was just having fun and just being a bit of a clown. And I flunked out and got kicked out and had to work my way back in. So yeah, we all have those failures before you have any sort of success, I suppose. And I'm not saying I'm wildly successful, but I'm pretty happy with my life at the moment. I've got a great wife and kids, and I think podiatry can give you so much.
Oh yeah,
probably my main message would be that podiatry, it can be such a rewarding career, and I know we don't have anywhere near enough of them at the moment. But I'd like to actually go to maybe schools and things like that if I ever get the chance. I'd have to talk to the association, I suppose, and talk about podiatry.
If it's too good an idea, they won't let you do it.
Yeah, that's probably right.
we talk about
association, and I'd go, "Who are you to do that?"
Talking about fail. I got kicked out of the association for a couple of years.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, wow. I got suspended 2 or 3 years from the association.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's just life. So
are you still registered as a podiatrist?
Oh yeah, I'm still registered, and I have no intentions on ever turning my registration in. I'm enjoying what I'm.
Hard to get back if you ever wanted it.
Oh, that was some advice that someone we both know, who said to me, it was one biggest regret was letting the registration go,
right?
Because once you let your registration go, you cannot call yourself a podiatrist.
No.
And yeah, so I'll always maintain it. I do all the CPD as I'm supposed to do. I do everything I'm supposed to do.
Yep.
And I still, at the gym, at the Muay Thai gym and stuff, I still give advice to people. Someone has a foot injury, I still check things out.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was at the foot and ankle show, I sat in at some of the the talks to take in information. I took notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
still have the passion for the discipline, which is what I have as well.
Yeah, I know. I can't see myself ever retiring, just stopping.
Yeah. I couldn't stop altogether either. I do other stuff as well at the moment with affiliate marketing stuff, which is unpodiatry related, but I have to be doing stuff all the time.
So, okay, Matt, I want to thank you for coming on the Podiatry Legends podcast. It's now all official, and
thank you for asking me on. I appreciate it.
And I'll have a Podiatry Legends hat coming your way.
Wonderful.
You wear it with pride. You'll wear it running around Kings Beach, and people go, "Oh, that's right, nice hat."
I will wear that to coffee, and they'll really be impressed.
So the only way you can get one of those hats is you have to come on the podcast. And I know there'll be some people that have gone, "But I've been on the podcast. Why don't I have a hat?" Because they didn't have them back then. you may have got a T-shirt. You may have got nothing. So, Matt, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been fun. And if you're talking to Alan Crawford, please say hello for me.
Oh, well, definitely. Yeah.
And I look forward to talking again soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tyson. Yeah, good. It'd be good to see you sometime.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.